So beautiful.
Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie Playground and welcome to my review of the Vaterra Halix. Now this is a 1/10 scale 4-wheel drive brushless monster truck that does come ready to run but does not have a battery or charger. Now the really cool feature about this particular truck is that it comes with the new feature called AVC, which stands for Active Vehicle Control. Now we'll get into that a little bit later on in the review, but to just kick things off, we're going to start off with some of the negative points that I've got on the truck, and then we'll finish this off with some of the positives and my feedback on AVC. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest issue that this truck comes with is the plastic drive shafts on all four corners. This is a major issue. I know that I'm not the only one that has had them break continuously, especially if you're going to be running on 3S. Be prepared to have spare drive shafts because it will go through them fairly quickly. I bought the truck during the summer months. It was pretty early on in summer, I think, when I first got my hands on it. So I know it's not necessarily due to any cold weather or anything like that. It is just that the plastic drive shafts are just weak. They use a very similar design to what you would find on the Traxxas vehicles, where one kind of slide into the other. Where they tend to break, I always seem to break the front ones, and it's always towards the wheel side. It never breaks the one that's closest to the diff. At least I've not had that happen to me. They don't seem to twist, so the plastics seem to be very hard, but at the same time they just seem to be a little bit brittle. Personally, I don't like the whole idea of plastic drive shafts, period. And to be quite honest with you, here in Australia this truck retails anywhere between $550 to $600. And at that price point, I'm sorry, but it needs to have metal drive shafts. And even so, the truck retails at $429 US from the Horizon Hobby website. Even at that price point, I just don't think that the whole idea of plastic drive shafts is good. It adds a very weak point to the truck. Now, granted, that may be a give point to protect perhaps other components in the drivetrain, but you know, you can buy an RC for half that price and it will come with metal dog bones, or it will come with CVDs. So to pay this sort of money and end up with what looks like a very cheap component that just should not exist on this RC, that's a little bit of a letdown. So I really wish that Vaterra in the future would address that issue, unlike Traxxas that have ignored that issue for countless years, and you know, re-release this truck with some metal drive shafts or dog bones or something, because yeah, it's just not capable of handling the power that they've introduced into the truck. Now, I did upgrade my drive shafts. There is an upgrade from Vaterra. There's also an upgrade from MIP, which I'm currently waiting on. And the upgrades for the metal drive shafts, I've already got them all installed in the truck, although I know you can't see it, but I will give you a bit of a close-up. I do have this drive shaft over here that's actually broken, and that leads me to another issue with this truck, where I think that the front shocks, primarily the front shocks, I haven't had any issues with the rear shocks, but I think the front shocks are just a tad too short. Basically what that means, when the suspension is compressed, these drive shafts actually hit the outdrive yoke before the shock fully compresses. So that creates a major issue. For something where you're paying $50 a pair, roughly, give or take, you're paying about $50 a pair. I know that Horizon Hobby have got these drive shafts for, I think they're about $36, somewhere around there. I paid about $50 a pair, obviously, because of the shipping costs. Horizon, unfortunately, I did not get it from them because they wanted $70 to $2 shipping to ship over a $35 part. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I actually ended up getting these off eBay, and within 5 minutes, I had one broken. Now, unfortunately, I don't have video footage of this to show you because I was just testing the truck out at the front of my house here, And I think I jumped the curb. I can't exactly remember when it happened because I'd noticed it probably about a minute or two later when I sort of realized, hang on, something's not right. And sure enough, I only had rear-wheel drive, and this guy here had snapped off. I do have the little bit that broke off, which is that little guy there. Now the drive shafts are kind of weird the way they've designed. Not weird. What they've done is they've made them really thick towards the wheels, but then they thin out towards the yoke, and it's almost like Vaterra knows that these drive shafts hit the yoke because they thin them out to try and give them a little bit more clearance. That to me is a big problem, because anybody that buys these drive shafts thinking, hey, I've solved my problem with the plastic drive shafts, instead they're going to be out of pocket even more because of an inherent flaw. So my suggestion is either A, swap out your shocks for something that's perhaps a little bit longer, or B, put a little stopper on the shock here, because at the moment they're compressing too much, and they just make this angle just too big, and that is the end result, a bad landing, and it snapped my drive shaft. So I think this is by far the biggest negative on this truck. If we can fix this problem, and I'm hoping that the MIP drive shafts that I got coming in now are going to solve this without me having to swap out the shocks or modify the shocks. I'm hoping that this will then be the end of it, and that'll be that. So I'm trying to figure this out to see if I can get it to work, so that then of course I'll relay that information back to you guys. Now I'm also going to be picking on the tires. As you can see, these aren't the original tires that came with the truck. The original tires are actually these guys here. These are actually very good tires in the sense that the rubber compound is fantastic. The grip that they offer, I think, is fantastic. However, they have a major flaw, and that is that, well, I'm going to put this down to two possible scenarios. The first scenario is that my tires, all 4 tires on this truck, have unglued themselves from the inside of the wheel. They're also starting to come off a little bit on the outside of the wheel, but I didn't have any pop off so far. I've got another one here that's also unglued itself. This one's probably not so bad, but they're all coming off from the inside, and this one here is pretty bad. You can see that it's completely come off. Now, I don't know if this is an assembly issue at Vaterra or if maybe they're just using the wrong glue, but this is a major concern because I've had the odd tire sort of come off a little bit and you sort of glue it back on and it's all good, but to have all 4 of them, that is really, really rare. I've never come across that issue. And I think as a result of that, this tire has actually torn, is actually ripped on the inside. Now, that to me kind of says, okay, the tire's unglued from the wheel, it's got caught somewhere and it's ripped, or it could be that the tire is just got a very thin wall. Maybe there could be something wrong with the rubber compound that they're using, and it's just too weak and it's torn here on the inside. So I've actually got a couple more tires coming in, exact same ones. I'm going to unglue these. I'm going to glue them back on using my own method and my own glue, and see if it happens again. And once again, I'll give you guys a bit of a follow-up later on down the line. But the tires themselves actually offer fantastic grip. I see no reason. This is probably one of the best ready-to-run tires that I've seen on any RC, where they have a very deep, aggressive tread pattern and they offer fantastic grip. So for me, these tires are a keeper, but just be mindful of if they start to unglue themselves, peel them all off, get some nice tire glue and glue them all back on yourself, and save yourself maybe having a tire tear like it happened to me here. Other than that, there's only a couple of small negatives that I can point out. Number one, it does not have a wheelie bar. This truck has an enormous amount of power. It will backflip on itself on 3S quite easily, and it would be nice if first off, it would be nice if the wheelie bar came in the box, but at least if Vaterra or somebody out there would actually give us a wheelie bar that we can attach here to this truck, it would be fantastic, because my rear bumper is scuffed up pretty badly. Really nice to have a wheelie bar. It doesn't have to be anything like a big contraption like the Stampede 4x4 has, but just a single wheel to stop the truck from flipping on itself would be great. It does not have adjustable links, so your camber and your toe are not adjustable, but that's not really a negative per se, because some people are actually quite happy having solid links. They don't have to worry about doing constant adjustments on the truck and making sure that everything is set correctly. Solid links are actually a good way to go about it too. So I guess it really depends on which side of the fence you're on there. Maybe a negative for you, may not bother you at all. Now the last thing, and this is something I touched on early on, is of course the price of this truck. It is a little bit more expensive than the Stampede 4x4 VXL, and it does not come with the battery or charger, whilst the Stampede does. So you're paying a few extra dollars here, and you've got a couple of issues that you need to deal with. Are there any positives to outweigh this? Well, let's move on to those, and we'll finish this off as quickly as possible. First positive is that it is all waterproof, so if you're worried about wet conditions, you should be totally fine with your electronics. The body is also a fantastic ready to run body that comes with the truck. Now, aside from the looks and the color scheme, I'm referring primarily to its durability, to the quality of the body itself. I'm actually very, very impressed with what Vaterra have supplied here. It feels very sturdy, very stout. It feels somewhat like a Proline body, to be quite honest with you. It's taken a hell of a beating, and the only real damage that I can report back, it's just on this back corner here, where the truck would then wheelie back, and if you go a little bit too far, the corners of this body are the first things to hit the ground. And I know that I'm not the only one. I've seen other pictures and videos of people having these back corners open up some very big holes. So that's the only negative I have, but I don't think that's really a fault of the body. It's just the fact that the truck does not have some sort of wheelie bar back here. But very happy with the body on this. Adjustable body posts is another great positive that I like to see on any ready-to-run vehicle, especially something like this, because once you're done with that stock body and you want to get yourself your own, whether it will be Beetle, you want to get a Ford F-150, you want a Chevy, you want whatever body you want to put on here, you have flexibility to adjust the height accordingly and let the body sit the way that it should sit. And I think for me, it's a small thing. I know a lot of people don't really care too much about this, but it's a small thing that I think makes a big difference. And I do appreciate Vaterra including the adjustable body posts in here. One thing I did not realize that this truck had until I actually took the wheels off is that it actually has alloy hex adapters on all four corners. Quite a lot of cars that I've purchased recently actually only come with plastic hex, and these have actually got alloy, so that's one less upgrade you need to worry about. Very, very nice addition to have that. Little surprise once I took the wheels off. The remote itself is also another great positive. This is the Spectrum DX2E. It has kind of a rubber feel both on the front here and on the back. It has a very comfortable grip. It feels well balanced. Of course, you can sit it up upright like so, and it's also designed that you can lay it down like so. To me, it has all the trimmings that you need. The steering dual rate knob over here is actually used to adjust the sensitivity of your AVC, so you can actually control how much input you want AVC to have into your driving. You got some reverse switches up here, and there's also a bind button. Great big wheel, although it does not have the usual foam surrounding on the wheel. I like the fact that it's a little bit bigger than the norm, and you just have a little bit more throw in your steering. It just feels really good. It feels well balanced. Plus, being Spectrum, of course, quality unit. You're not going to lose range. It's not going to play up on you. I'm very happy with the remote. I think it's a great addition to this RC. The electrics on the truck, I mean, as I said, it is waterproof, but as far as the quality of them goes and how they worked, how they functioned, steering servo did not give me a reason to really want to upgrade, although, yeah, you can always go a bit torquier and a bit faster, but I think what they have supplied for a ready-to-run vehicle is ample. It did the job very, very well and didn't fail on me. It worked brilliantly. I'm actually very happy with the steering servo. The ESC and the motor, unbelievable. Absolutely blew me away. This truck performs very, very well. And this is where it sort of leads me into the speed of the vehicle. I clocked it at 55 kilometers an hour on 2S and 74 kilometers an hour on 3S. Great speed, and it can handle this type of speed off-road as well, so it's actually very, very good. On 3S it can get a little bit out of control. It's almost too much, especially for a semi-light, short wheelbase monster truck like this. 3S is a bit of a handful. Even with AVC on, you're still going to struggle, especially with monos and wheelies and what have you. It does get up to speed very, very quickly. Now, probably one of the best things about this truck for me has to be the overall handling of this truck and just how it drives. For me, this surpassed my expectations. For a 1/10 scale monster truck, it handles very, very well. It has this really nice plush suspension. Everything just seems, it's balanced brilliantly. It just seems to work very well. Couple that with the speed and the power that it has, and then add on your AVC, and it just becomes an awesome experience to be able to drive one of these. Personally, I'm very, very happy with the handling characteristics of this truck. I think Vaterra have done a fantastic job, without a shadow of a doubt. Lastly, I'm going to just mention quickly a little bit more about AVC and just give you guys a bit of feedback. Now, I have done a separate video showing you an example of me having AVC on and AVC off. And even in my running videos, I also sort of challenged the audience to identify when I actually had it on and when I had it off. One of the things I didn't realize, because I was running the truck for the first time in those videos, was that I didn't realize how difficult it is to pick up when you're actually watching the truck. When you have remote in hand, you know, 100% you will know when you've got it on and when you've got it off. And the best way for me to describe it to you is that when AVC is on, it kind of feels like the truck is on rails. Because not only does it have input into your steering, but AVC also has an input into your throttle control. So it's not just about realigning the truck to keep it in a straight line. It also has input into your throttle control. So if AVC actually picks up that the back wheels are spinning, or that the wheels in general are spinning, that it is four-wheel drive, it will back off the throttle a little bit until you start to get that grip. So it's traction control, it's a steering gyro, it does all of this together and it works brilliantly. I know that a lot of people have been a little bit iffy about AVC because they feel that, oh, when you have it on, you're not really driving the truck, you're having this thing that's aiding you in driving it. But at the same time, when you have something that does nearly, 75, 80 kilometers an hour, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the skill level to be able to control this truck, AVC is a great little helping hand, especially for those that are a little bit inexperienced or new to the hobby, or for those that are a bit, a bit younger, because you don't want to restrict the age groups that would enjoy a vehicle like this. So I think AVC, for me, I welcome it with open arms, and I think it's a great idea. And as long as if any future companies decide to introduce their own version of AVC into their vehicles, as long as it remains adjustable and it doesn't become a complex system where you have extra wires and sensors and all this type of thing going on, it becomes something simple like what Vaterra or Horizon Hobby have done here, or Spectrum. I'm not quite sure which one is responsible for it, but as long as it's something simple where it's built into the actual receiver itself and it's adjustable, there should be no reason why there shouldn't be more of it. I think anything that helps more people get into the hobby and give them that little bit of confidence until they gain the skills required to be able to turn this down, I think it's a great thing, and I applaud Spectrum, Vaterra and Horizon Hobby for bringing this out. I think they did a great job with it. And I know that they got some award for it as well. I can't quite remember what it was, please forgive me, but I know that they actually received an award for this. So I think AVC is a fantastic idea. On top of this, the receiver that's actually in here, you can actually upgrade your remote, get I think it's a 4-channel remote, and you're actually able to separate and tune the steering and the throttle response separately. Whilst here you're only going to be doing both of them at the same time by turning it down and turning it up. With the upgraded remote you can actually separate the two. So again, another option and another feature in the truck, which I think is great. In closing, overall durability on the truck, I think it's fantastic, with the exception of the drive shafts. I didn't have any bumpers break, I didn't have any A-arms break, my shocks lived up okay, although I did have a bottom thread on one of my rear shocks. come out a couple of times. I have got it in there with some Loctite now, and it seems to be holding up okay. By far and away the biggest issue is the drive shafts. There's also a bit of a question mark over the price. I know that the truck itself can be a little bit hard to get your hands on depending on where you are in the world, and even if you can get it, prices can fluctuate. So you really need to do your homework before you go out and buy any Vaterra brand vehicle. Can you get the truck at a reasonable price? Can you get access to parts? Where are you going to get them from? Take all of these things into consideration, because it will vary, of course, depending on where you are. But for me, you know, I have to say I'm absolutely in love with this truck. I really, really like it. I just hope that I can sort out the drive shaft issue. Once that's sorted, I will have a truck here that will last me a very, very long time. I did not have any other issues with it. I didn't have any overheating issues. The drivetrain seems to be perfectly fine, again, with the exception of the drive shafts. So for me, this gets a thumbs up, but of course, you know, depending on where you are, it may not be the same result for you. That's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to check out the video description for other links to videos on this truck. Be sure to thumbs up the video if you liked it, and I'll be speaking to you guys again soon.